It's Screech, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make an ambient, low peep type guitar loop in FL Studio 20. It's going to sound like this in the end. So to start out, you need a sound. If I go ahead and open up Edison, let me just load the sample in again. So I just grabbed this off of Looperman. Pretty much the only place I get loops from. Listen through the loop. Basically, I wanted to use, I believe it was this part here. I think that was right there. So I chopped that out. And within Edison, once you highlight it, by just clicking and dragging to where you want, if you go to this option here, you just click that and drag that into the playlist. So once you have the loop in the playlist, and I am at 140 BPM, make sure you're on the tempo that you want. Now I'm going to go over a few options. I'm going to stretch this out to a workable length, because it's like 1 bar and like an eighth of a bar or whatever. So I'm going to stretch this out to 4 bars. How I'm going to do that is make sure that stretch is on. If stretch is not on, it will, when you go back, it will just cut the loop off, and when you go forward, it will just be a blank section. So I'm going to go up to this little snap thing, or this magnet. It's called the snap to grid option, and it's already on none. I usually have it on bar, just when I'm arranging the beats, but wherever this is, you want to have it on none, and then you're just going to click and drag this out to 4. Important to take note of that the number is at the start of the bar, so when I'm going to 4 bars, I'm going to drag it out to the number 5, because this is the 4th bar right here. So just I don't know what level you're at, but don't get offended by that. But it's something that confused me at the first. And I'm just going to make sure that is exactly on 4 bars, and make sure that is all the way over. Once again, just making sure that it is actually at 4 bars. From that point, I would recommend going and switching it back to the snap that you usually use, and that will leave us with this sound now. Alright, next I added an EQ. So what I'm going to do, just so I can get the exact settings over, is this is already routed to track to the mixer track 1. So I'm going to route the second one again, and I'm just going to show you the settings that I used, which I think I had on. I'm going to turn that off. But I basically cut out all the lows. When you stretch something out, it will pitch it down, which will leave you with a lot of low end. So depending on how high you really want it, you can cut out, you EQ this however you want. You definitely want to cut out the lows and boost some of these high to mid ranges if you're going for the feel that is in this loop that I'm making. So I'm going to turn that on. Well, let me play it without it, because I think I did that by mistake. And then with that on, it still sounds very deep and gritty, but it definitely takes out like the very bassy end of it. And the next thing I did from there was I went over and just clicked on the in the channel rack, the loop. And this would normally be on, I think it will be, it will be transient no bleeding. I'm going to go ahead and switch that to transient bleeding. What that's going to have it do is declicking mode. You might have heard it when it gets to the end and it re-triggers or loops back through. there'll be like a little clicking noise, and that's just because you can never cut the audio perfectly, and so a rapid change in the frequency, it like creates a snapping noise. And so what it means by bleeding is that it's going to take the frequencies here and blend it in with the frequencies here to create a smoother transition. So that's something that you usually want to do when you're working with like raw audio samples like this, and not you won't really need it with like MIDI or turning MIDI into audio. And then next thing I did was I pitched this up. So when you pitch it up here, it will not, when you do the time, essentially, that is when it will change the actual length of the sample. When I pitch it up here, it will pitch it up without changing the length, which is a very important concept behind this. So watch right up here. I'm going to pitch this up to 400 cents, and that will leave me with this sound. And then the final thing that I did was I added some good old reverb, just fruity reverb. I started, I believe, with the large hall preset, and trying to remember exactly what I did. Sorry, I turned the high cut all the way down because with the kind of feel you want to emphasize the higher end, high cut means that it will cut out higher frequencies. I think the delay was on just a little bit, and I think I increased the size of it, but fooled around with the dry and wet. But this is kind of the end sound. And so that's pretty much it. I hope you found this helpful, and thanks for watching.